In this video, you can learn how to choose and define the geometry so it can later be used in the physics setup in Xenos radio frequency simulation software. As an example, we will use a simple patch antenna. Once you've finished and uploaded your geometry to Xenos, the next step is to choose the type of application you are working with. It can be microstrip, RFID, or other. In this case, we are using a patch antenna, so we select that option. This takes us to the geometry definition window. If you happen to select the wrong antenna type, don't worry. You can always reset it by clicking the Reset Geometry Type option and choosing a different one. Let's begin by selecting the geometry for the substrate. To do this, click the Select button, which opens the geometry selection window. Since the substrate is always a volume, we must choose from the existing domains. You can select it either from the preview screen or directly from the list. Once selected, click the Assign button to link this volume to the substrate definition and return to the main screen. Next, we define the patch. Click the Select button to open the selection window. This time, we can choose either domains or boundaries, something that wasn't available when defining the substrate. That's because the patch can be modeled either as a two-dimensional surface or as a full 3D layer. In our example, we switch the selection to boundaries and choose the surface that represents the patch. Once you switch to boundaries, you can notice that you can filter the faces by the solid that you select. In this case, we can select substrate and only the corresponding faces will appear. We select the patch from the preview and we can follow the same step for the ground. The next role is the port. In this case, we can also choose the geometry that we can see. In this case, we select to show only the substrate, so it is easier to select the terminals for the discrete port. Now you can notice that the geometry solids that have no role assigned, they are highlighted yellow. In this case, we need to assign a role to them. For this specific case, we can add a reflector. Select this role and assign the corresponding solid. Now we add a conductor and add solid 3. At this point, all necessary geometrical objects have been assigned to their respective roles. You may notice that they are labeled with these names, but they can be renamed simply by clicking the Edit button. And that's it! Once all the roles have been assigned, you can proceed to the physics setup by clicking Continue, where you will define the physical parameters and run the simulation. Thank you for watching!